tonight we are. I mean, this is, how do I put it? We on automatic in terms of, the rifling, the weaponry we're using tonight. We're just going all out. And what we're going to do is cover and debunk a number of different myths about Black men. And I wanted to get BGS up in here with me to do it because it's a lot more fun, for one, to bounce off your brother when we're talking about it. But there's a lot of info to cover. So I wanted to kind of get that in. So let me start. This is dealing with the top 10 leading causes of death. And there's a lot of different things we could talk about on this, but this is for Black women. Right? Shout out to Artisan MC in the house. What's going on? He's been doing reviews of the episodes of The Last of Us. So go check him out on his channel. If you've been watching the series, check out his reviews. I think he's doing by episode. So
he's doing episode by episode. Yeah.
So support the show. But this particular chart is for Black females, and it's 1999 to 2019. Right? So it's 20 years. The top 10 leading causes of death. Now, one of the popular stereotypes going around was that for a few years ago, and I still hear it casually kind of referenced, is that somehow Black men are the leading cause of death for Black women. Mm-hmm. And that abuse, is so rampant in the Black community, or I should say intimate partner homicide is so rampant that Black men are, as I've heard it stated, killing Black women in mass. Mm-hmm. Well, I wanted to kind of show you. So you can see homicide. Homicide are all the red squares or rectangles here. For the ages 1 through 44. Right? Those are for ages 1 to 44, homicide does fit within the top 10 causes of death for that age range. If you go all the way over to this right category, this right column that says all ages, these are the absolute top 10 things that kill Black females from 1999 to 2019. And one thing you'll notice is that homicide is not in this top 10 by any measure.
Yeah,
not there at all. Starts at heart disease, ends at influenza and pneumonia.
So pneumonia kills more Black women than homicide. Okay.
Absolutely. As a good sociologist friend of mine told me, he said you got a better chance of being struck by lightning or dying in a flood than being killed by an intimate partner. So I just want to put that on everybody's radar. Shout out to Dusty Nuts. He says, if I'm quiet, I'm learning. Appreciate that. But just wanted to kind of point that out. So even if you look at the numbers here, 22, I'd say, you're dealing with somewhere around 25,000 in general. That's across 20 years, across ages 1 to 44 years old. And that's not just intimate partner homicide. That's any kind of homicide. Right? Those are the numbers. When you look at Black men, this is the Black male chart for the same time period, 1999 to 2019. Top 10 causes of death. Homicide is number 5. Right? But again, we're talking specifically about the stereotypes about Black men being homicidal monsters of Black women. Right? Now, I know you've heard this critique before, right? You've heard this accusation,
right,
lobbied at Black men. What do you usually tell them?
Number one, the data doesn't support it. Okay, number one, and number two, it's been proven that it's bidirectional.
Absolutely.
That's number two.
Yeah. We're gonna get into a little bit of that, but you're absolutely right. But what else you gonna
say? And the thing is, I was here for, especially from intersectional feminists, that the most dangerous thing to Black women is actually Black men. Okay, and I always tell them, well, go date somebody else. Okay.
What I tell them is the most dangerous thing to Black women is not only is it not Black men, it's really like McDonald's.
Which is true. If you look at it, the heart disease. Okay. Yeah.
Black heart men disease on McDonald's.
Yeah, heart disease and cancer. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, we, like I said, we just picking through. And if there's anything else in here you want to comment on, just let me know before I move to the next thing.
And the thing is, the funny thing is, I noticed this with this chart, that heart disease is the leading cause of death from ages of 35, man, for Black men. And it doesn't show for Black women as leading cause of death until they're 65.
Absolutely.
It shows you how much stress Black men are under.
I'll go back. So this is the Black women's chart, and you can see At 35, it's about 23,000, black women that have died due to heart disease. It kicks up to 61 when you get over the age of 45. It kicks up to 104 over the age of 55. And then it kicks up over to 567,000 over the age of 65.
Yeah, when they're it's basically old age.
Yeah. So it becomes the number one killer at over the age of 65, right? You go to black men, it becomes the number one killer as early as 35 years old.
Yep.
And the numbers overall, so 769,781. It was only a few years ago where black men, the numbers for heart disease pushed past black women. Because before it was more that you kind of had more brothers dying earlier. And so they weren't even reaching the age where heart disease became a factor. But then that changed probably about 5 years ago. Numbers for black men kicked up higher. So I just wanted to put that out there so we can actually clarify some of these myths about black men. So this is the next one. We can deal with intimate partner homicide. Now, we hear a lot of rates and stats about how often black men kill their partners and this and that. Now, I've already showed you, right, that homicide is not in the top 10 causes of death for black women. But here are the actual numbers, right? According to the National Violent Death Reporting System, 2018 and 2021, these are the actual numbers. So you can see it for the first line, 2003. 57 black female victims, 22 black male victims. Now, this is also mitigated by the number of states that report.
Right.
And the reason the numbers keep going up as you go down in this list is because more states report. But keep in mind, this is the data that people are referencing when they make these statements about black men. So how long, so you've been, well, I'll just ask you, how long have you been hearing that black men are the worst thing in the world of black women, that black men are the number one killers and all that? How long have you been hearing that trope?
Oh man, my whole life.
Yeah.
My whole life.
But if we go to 2003, which is the first year they reported on this, talking about 57
people. Yeah. More black men died of the flu than from black men killing them.
And when you combine both numbers for black male victims and black female victims, what are we talking about here? About 79 people? That's out of 43 to 46 million. I can't remember which one is that. 46 million black folk.
Yeah.
We're talking about 79 people. Okay, so when my sociologist friend said you got a better chance of being struck by lightning than being killed by an intimate partner.
Yeah, you do.
This is what he's talking about. 2017, you got 172 black female victims, 93. Now that sounds like a huge difference, but again, when you measure that against 40 plus million black folk, what are we really talking about?
Yeah. And we're not even talking about LGBTQ female on female victims.
Oh yeah, which LGBTQ numbers are higher. For lesbians.
Yeah.
Right?
So that's built into their female victim stat.
Absolutely. And keep in mind too, when women hire assassins, and I've said this plenty of times, if you look at the works of Warren Farrell, he talks about this even in the early 1980s. He said wealthy women hire assassins, poor women use sex. Especially with younger men. They use sex to manipulate younger men into killing for them. So you got a woman that wants to kill her husband, she'll either hire an assassin or she'll use sex to manipulate another man to do it. If he's successful and he's caught, really all it gets recorded as is one man killing another. Unless he's caught as an instigator, which is, I would argue, fairly rare, those numbers don't get calculated as intimate partner homicide.
No.
I would argue the number of men that are killed would be higher if we actually had information on when women hire assassins.
We should. I wish we could actually do one on proxy violence.
Indeed.
Instigated by females, because that's the most common.
Absolutely. Now you'll notice in 2015, 10 more states reported, so the numbers jumped up a little bit. It's not necessarily to say that the number of people killed grew. It was just you have more states reporting. But here's 2018 and 2019. Right? And even now by 2019 we were up to 42 states reporting. Look what we're talking about.
Yeah, they always use the percentage. Okay,
Yes,
to actually exaggerate the number of people actually killed.
absolutely.
Hmm.
And they'll tell you that black men kill more black women by ratio than other
Yeah,
groups kill their women.
yeah,
But what I found when I studied it as well is black women kill more men than other groups of women kill their men.
yeah.
So that's something that can be lobbied both ways if that's important to you,
Mhm.
if you really have to make that. But I like to show the raw numbers just to put it in context. We're literally talking about a couple hundred people out of 40 plus million.
Right.
Yet black men are measured against the smallest, infinitesimal group possible. Right? This is right up here with serial killers, and this somehow becomes a reflection of all black men.
Yeah.
Right. So I just kind of wanted to put some raw numbers in your face so you can kind of, contextualize these myths and accusations.